Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from IT Visualizer channel. Today we'll begin our 8th lab. Okay, we will begin installing the Microsoft Active Directory Right Management Service. This is mainly an identity service to control or to have restrict access to files like Word, Excel, or even if you are working with Outlook. We will see later how we can control this. And we will also install the data duplication. This is a feature role in Microsoft. Here I have a description for it. It's called DDoP for short, a feature that can reduce the impact of redundant data on storage cost, which means that it optimizes free space. It's optimizing the free space on the volume that it is activated on. Okay, by compressing, it's a mechanism. Okay, reduces compromise without compressing that without compromising the validity or integrity. So how this will be installed we will see in a couple of seconds. So as I said before, I have all of the videos recorded without sound, so I can have the opportunity to comment by two languages, first in English and then in Arabic. So let's begin the video in full screen. So this is the first domain controller. We'll log in. From previous lab we have already installed the second domain controller, and it's a file server role. So we'll install the Microsoft Data Duplication, or DDoP for short. And then after that we'll begin installing Active Directory Right Management Service. Just pause the video because the virtual machine is a little bit slow. So now we have already logged in. So in a previous video I have installed the second domain controller with the secondary DNS and secondary WANs, and I have set up the network connection in the domain controller number 2 and put the DNS, the secondary DNS and secondary WANs. So I have to do this and also in the first domain controller. So we will put the IP address of the secondary DNS, which is the secondary domain controller, because the DNS is integrated. So we'll put 29, and then we will add the secondary WANs, which is also the secondary domain controller, and that has the feature of WANs also installed. So because we have two WANs and two DNS, so we have added the second domain controller to the WANs and alternative DNS, so both can see each other and to have redundancy, as I said before. So now we will begin installation of the Microsoft Data Duplication. It's already installed, by the way. We will only enable it. In the previous lab we have already installed it. So what we will do, we will just right click or enable it on the volume or the data volume or the volume that you need, if it's C or D. Of course the D, it is the data volume, so we'll enable this feature on it to get the benefit of free some space and optimizing the volume as the documentation says. So this feature will be enabled from the server manager, and then file and storage service, sorry. So now we'll open file and storage services, and in volumes first of all, I didn't know that if maybe it's in the tools but it's not there. It will be oh, this is not the option. This is the normal defragment option. No, we will get it, or it will be enabled from the volumes here, under volumes, file and storage services, and then volumes. It's in volumes. I just was discovering this option because it's the first time to do it, my first time to do it. So we will right click on the D again and tell him configure data duplication, deduplication. So it's enabled. There is three options. General purpose for file server, this is the one that we will use. You can make it as a schedule, so it will run on intervals, fixed intervals of time. We will leave everything as is. Enable background optimization. You just enable the option and OK. We can enable what you need. So we'll tell him apply. And if you want to exclude some folders from the deduplication, so you can exclude it. You have enabled the option. So we need now to run. It will run on the interval of time that you decide, but if you want to run it now, we will make this through the command, through the PowerShell command. But as a precaution, you have to do, or you have to run this command in non-production hours. Okay, so it takes a lot of processing. So you need to do it when you have, after the employees' working hours is finished or something like this. We start dedup. Dedup job minus, this is the type, optimization. You are optimizing the drive. Okay, I think optimization here means also it's like defragging or something, but I think it's a different mechanism. But it seems to me it's like optimization or defragment, as even the description says. If you check the description in Microsoft, it seems like the defragment. Okay, so it's type optimization, and we will choose minus volume. It's the D volume we want to use. We have this feature enabled on it, and then as for the priority, we'll make it as high so we can begin the job now. And leave it. And press enter. Priorities, there is a missing I. So now it is queued. If you want to check, I think status minus dedup job, or get, yes, get minus dedup job, or sorry, it's get minus dedup status, and enter. So now It will give you how much space save space, how much optimized, how much files in policy. I think it's something really, it's something like optimization or something like the fragment, but maybe a different mechanism, or with a different mechanism. So now we'll begin the process of installing the Active Directory Right Management Service. This is the Wins service. I don't know, every time I restart the server, this service doesn't start automatically, so I restarted manually. I think maybe if I make the option as delayed start, maybe it will work. So now the first thing to do is to create a user. This user, the Active Directory Right Management, this is the account that the Active Directory Management service will use to start the service or to work with the service. Active Directory Management Service, we will create an account for it to be used to start and any process through this role will use this user to work with it. Service account, okay, and make it never expire, because this is the service account, so we need the password to be not expired, because expired it will disable the account or close the account, so the service will stop working. So remember, as a security, make the password, and remember to reset the password or change the password every now and then, because the password never expire, will not give you. You have to take a note with the time that you have put the password, and then remember to reset or change the password manually every interval of time. So services, remote desktop, also you can use this feature, deny this user to log on to remote desktop. So that's to enable this feature, so this user will be denied to access as a desktop, so you can't use it as a normal user and log in to a desktop or to a server with the user account. It's only for running a service. This is important. So every service account you need to enable this feature. This is the description: Active Directory Right Service Account, Directory Right Management Service Account. It's only, this is again, this is the account that the Active Directory Right Management Service will use to communicate with the clients and to start the service, or to configure, to use it as to start the server and configure the options or the features in this role. Okay. We don't also, if you enable remote, we will disable this feature, so this user will not have used the remote feature to connect to any user. This is also a security precaution. So now we have the service account. We need to install the feature. So now the second thing to do is to install Active Directory Certificate Authority. We need to have a certificate authority server, okay, to issue a SSL certificate. Why? Because this to secure the connection or secure the service, to secure the service of the Active Directory Right Management Service. Okay. So now what I'm doing, I'm giving this service account an administrative rights, so it can work without any issues. Okay, I'm just giving the service account to be a member of the IT group, which is a member of the Active Directory domain admins and schema admins and a lot of things. Okay, so now this service account will have full administrative rights, but as I said, we have only dedicated it to run a service, not to do anything else. It will not be an admin or not even log into the PCs or servers. Okay. So now we need to install the Active Directory service. As I said before, we need to issue a SSL certificate just to make any user that connects to the Active Directory management service to use a secure connection. Okay, and this is for security. So we'll install the certificate authority. Before that, I took a snapshot just for precaution if anything goes wrong. So as I said before, the certificate authority will be adding this role to issue a SSL certificate. Okay, this is mainly for the HTTPS. So the connection between the Active Directory Right Management Service server and the clients will be secured. Okay, this is also security issue. So now we will choose the certification authority. I am using a video I got from the internet to follow the steps because this is my first time to install this feature. So as you all will see, I am taking a quick view on the video and then begin preparing or begin installation on live or on my virtual machine. So now we will click on the certificate authority enrollment, web enrollment. This is the service that will issue SSL and distribute it, SSL certificate, and distributed it to the clients. Okay. So now I'm just seeing the video to begin working with the steps. Okay, so now we will complete, tell him certificate authority and security web enrollment, next, and install. So the first step for working with the Active Directory or to install the Active Directory right management service is to make a service account and then to have a certificate authority server in place to issue SSL certification, so the connection between the client and the Active Directory management service will be secured, or SSL connection. So now we are configuring the certificate authority server role. Now we need to click on certification authority and certification authority web enrollment. This is the features we need to configure. Next, it's an enterprise. This will be for the whole domain certification. That means this option if you are working on a standalone or without a domain environment. So now we are working on a domain environment. So I'm just seeing the video to copy the steps. So now it's an enterprise certificate authority. It's a root. This is the first certificate authority. Create a private key. All of this next. This is the name of the certification authority server. Next, this is all features. The certification duration will be for 5 years. Okay, we'll leave everything to the default one. Next. So configure. So as I said before, this is the first step. The certification is the the service account we did, and then the certification authority, and then we will begin issuing or making an SSL certificate and to distribute it to the clients. Okay, so first this is I am also following the video, so we will open first. After finishing the configuration, we tell him to close, and then I will add it to my console. I will not open tools and open the certification authority server console. I will just add it to my console, the one that we created from previous labs that contains all of the features I need. I will just add it to my transformers console. Here it is. So now we will open, you can get it from here also, certification authority. And as I said before, this is a good feature to combine or to have all of the features you need to set up or configure in one console, so you don't have every time to open a separate console to do what you need. All of the consoles are in one combined console. So now we are just following the video. After that we will begin making an SSL certification. Okay, I'm just following the video. So what we will do now, that we will open the certification authority console and then certification templates. You right click and manage, and the SSL certification, it's mainly a web certification, so you right click and we'll make a copy of this certification, but not from here. Right click and manage, and then we have a certification already. We will copy it. Okay, make a copy from it. It's a web server. It's already it's already a certification in the templates. We will make a copy from it and then begin making the changes. We will name it SSL certification, and we will put the server name, and a lot of some setting will be changed. So as I said before, I'm doing this for the first time, so I'm following the video, and then after I see the steps, I begin implementing it on my live lab or my virtual lab. So bear with me. So now we have opened the copy, the template copy, and we will open the general tab. We will name the template as SSL. This is, as I said before, it's for securing a HTTPS connection. Okay, published to the Active Directory, so every client can use it. So now request handling, allow private key to be exported, because this key we will take it after that, or after we do the certification we will get the certification and import it or put it on a server to allow a connection between us and the server. Okay. Allow the private key export, as I said before, to take the certification and export it and put it to a client or a server, so we can enable communication between the Active Directory Management Service role server and the client or the server. Okay. This, as I said, I am following a video, so I'm just revising some steps. I will tell you all what what I will do later. This I am revising, and then to make sure that I am following the right steps. Is it having some naming convention here? Exchange server. We will not have this in the lab. We have already a certification server, and we have uh, an active directory right management server, which is the second domain controller. I will explain. I'm just following the video. I'll explain now what he is doing. So as you see, is the DC33. This is the domain member. In our case, this is the second domain controller, which contains the Active Directory, will contain the Active Directory RMS server. And D34, this is the certification server, which is our first domain controller. So as for the certification, he will get to the security tab and make this certification. We will make the two servers. We will add our first domain controller, second domain controller, and give them the enroll feature. So if any client will connect and needs to communicate with the server, with the Active Directory right management service, he can enroll the server. The two servers can enroll the certification to the client. I'm just adding them. It's boot 1 and boot 2. We will choose the computers. Okay, both can enroll. They can read and can enroll. Okay, so I choose the two PCs. So now we have make a copy of the certification and then change the name and allow the private key to be exported, which means I can export the certification and put it manually to any client I need. And then we add the two domain controllers. I give them the enroll feature, so any client wants to connect and get a certification, these servers have the right to enroll the certification to it, to enroll this certification to the clients. So now we are revising. We have already made the service account and then installed the certification authority role, and then we have the SSL connection done, SSL connection certification done with all of the setting. So we need now to export this certification. The certification is done. It's named SSL. So now we will you will get the certification, or export the certification. New certification template to issue. Okay, so we now get this certification exported, or issue this certification. I think it's not exported. It's a template is there. We have already make a configuration for the SSL certificate. We will now issue it, so it will be available for clients to be enrolled. This is my mistake. What you will do now, we have already made the configuration for the SSL certification, so now we need it to be issued. So if any client wants to connect, he will see this certification in the list of the certifications to be issued. If you want to issue a certification to a client, you can also export it later after issuing it. I'm just also following the video. We will now go to the second domain controller and then install the feature of Active Directory Right Management Service. So all of the previous steps is a prerequisites before installing the Active Directory Right Management Service. As we said before, revising again with you all, we will make a service account. This will be responsible for working with the Active Directory Management Service role. Will configure it, will authenticate the clients to the server with this account. This is mainly the account that will be used by the Active Directory Management Service role. And then we install a certification authority or certification server to issue a certification called SSL, this to secure the connection between the Active Directory Management Service server and the clients. Okay, so we have the after issuing the certification, we have already a certification SSL in operation. So now we have the service account, we have the SSL certificate. Now we will install the Active Directory Right Management Service feature or role, and then we will tell this feature or from the configuration of the Active Directory Management Service console, we tell him to use the certification SSL to connect with the clients. So if any client wants to connect to Active Directory Management Service server, he will issue a certification for him to secure the connection. It's a little bit complicated, I know, but we need 1, 2, 3. We don't need to know how this feature will work. We need 3 things. We need the service account, the SSL certification, and then the Active Directory Management Service installation. Here we are enrolling. I am now, as I said, we have already done the SSL certification. We now are on the second domain controller, which will install the Active Directory Management Service on it. On this server, we will issue the certification SSL to be on the server, and then we will tell the Active Directory Management Service role to use it. So now we are on the second domain controller, which will have this feature, as I said before, installed on. But before that, we need to issue the SSL certification to be on the server. Here we go. Tell him to enroll this on my server, on the server. Okay. So as I said, this certification will be used by the Active Directory Management Service role to work with the client or to authenticate the clients to this service. So please don't follow the. I'm just, as I said, I am doing it for the first time. So don't follow this. Don't focus on this video. I'm just seeing, for me, it's a reference for me, and after I finish seeing what he's doing, I will begin implementing it on my lab. I am just recording that so that you all know it's my first time, and also if you need to see this video, I will put it on the description in my YouTube channel after that. So now we are issuing the SSL certification. Enroll it on, in other mean, I am enrolling the SSL certification on the second domain controller, which we will have the service right management service account installed on it. So this feature, or the right management service server, will use it to authenticate users, as I said. So now we will use this SSL, issue this SSL to the server. Full DN, this is the name of the server. It's, we know the common name, which is the name of the server, which is HP Gen 8 Serve Bot 2. This is the name of the server. This is for the certification to have the name of the server on it, okay? This is the name of the server. And the DNS, we have two names, so the certification will have two names: the name of the server, the NetBIOS name of the server, and the full qualified domain name for the server, which is HP Gen 8 servebot2.transforms.local. Okay, this is the full qualified domain name and the NetBIOS name. So the certification will include both uh, both names. Okay, we will have the DNS name. I'll put it. We will add .transformers.local, and we will add both names to the certification. So anyone will connect. He will see that he is taking the certification named, or the certification will be named by the server you are getting it from. It will be this name, the NetBIOS name, or the full qualified domain name. So the client connects. Okay, you will get SSL certification. What is the name of the server? It will be this or that. Okay, so now we will issue the certification. Okay, and as I said, it will be used for any communication between the clients and the right management server. And then apply and OK. So now we will enroll the certification. So we have done the service account, issued the SSL certification, configure the SSL certification, enroll the SSL certification on the server that we will have the right management service installed on. Before installing the feature, we will do also some configuration. But as I said, this is 3 steps. So now we have the certification, as I said before, in 2 names: the NetBIOS name and the fully qualified domain name. As for dedup, okay, it didn't find anything. Okay, so we'll close the PowerShell console. So now we will install the Active Directory Right Management Service. And I repeat again, we have already done the service account. Okay, the service account that the Active Directory Right Management Service will use, and then we have a certification authority installed, and then we have SSL certification configured, and then we have it enrolled on the server that we will have the Active Directory Management Service installed. This is all before installing the service actually. So now we are installing the Active Directory Right Management Service. Okay, we'll add the feature, and then next, 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 and then next, then next, and then install. That will take some time. Until this time, I am just revising the video to see if there is any further steps to be taken. So now we will perform additional configuration. Now the Active Directory Right Management Service is installed. Just configure it. Next, next, Active Directory Root Service Cluster. Next, we will use it not on SQL, it will be Windows internal database. We'll specify the account. This is, as it says, it can communicate with other services and network computers. This is the service account that we will use. As it said, it requires a domain user it can communicate with other services and network computers. This is the account that I've created previously. So we have it now in use. This will be the RMS. I have to get the username. And as I said, I give him full administrative rights. Okay, and put it. And put the password. And next. I'm just revising the video to see if there is any additional steps to be done. He is next and next. This is the domain service account, the step that I did already. So now we'll make next. This is he wants a password to join other servers to the cluster or to restore something like a password for securing the connection. I think it says that to join other ADRMS servers to this cluster, if there is more than one server that contains the Active Directory Right Management service, if they are more than one server contains this feature, so you can communicate with secure password. Next and next. So here in this step we use, as I said before, we have an SSL certification because the Active Directory Right Management service will work. You can make the Active Directory Right Management service work without SSL certification, but for security we will use it. Okay, SSL. So this is here where the certification we have issued will come into play, or will come to be in handy. Okay, so now this is the fully qualified domain name. This is the website, or the website that the clients will use to issue the certification or to enroll certification to be able to communicate with the right management server. Here is the name. I put the name. The transformers.local. Okay, this will be the website. As I said, this is website, so it can issue certifications to the clients to be able to communicate with the server, the Active Directory Right Management server. Next and next, I think. So now we will choose a certification to be used. We have two SSL certification, one with the NetBIOS name and one with the full qualified domain name. So we'll use the first one. So here service account is used, certification is used. Okay. You don't need to know all of this mechanism. We need only, I'm just explaining it so everyone to have a full view of what we are doing, but we actually need the service to be up and running and then use it. So we don't need to know all of the details, but if anyone needs to know what we are doing. Okay, this is all of the configuration, and then install. Now it's finished, closed. Okay. Okay, finished. So I'll make a restart to the server, just everything to be in order. So after installing the right management service, we will do some configuration to the website which the clients will use to issue the certification to be able to connect to the Active Directory Right Management Service. This will be done through IIS configuration, Internet Information Service. We will see that in a moment. So I'm just adding the Active Directory Right Management Service console to my combined console, also for ease of management, and IIS Internet Information Service, because we will do some configuration now. Here, this is the website that the clients will connect to be able to issue the certification. It will be under sites. There is some certifications to be, some configuration to be done here. This is the default website. Okay. So we will make some changes in binding. Okay, we're just making sure it will use HTTPS using port 443 and edit. It's using the SSL certification we have done before, which is server.transformers.local. This is the certification that we will use by clients or will issue to client. أيوة. Sorry for the interruption. We now begin the video, or resume the video, we can say. So now we can get a little bit back. Now, as we see, we are making some configuration to the website that the clients will use for authentication to the server. Enable some features. We don't really need to know why we are making this configuration, but I think it's to ease the issuing of the certification to the clients for the authentication anonymous users. You will see now that in a moment. So here we will get to that and then authenticate. Anonymous authentication, we will enable it. We enable all of the anonymous authentication. I think this step is to ease the, as I said, the issuing of the certification, or issuing the connection to the server to be easy. Okay, is just we are making authenticate and just enable the anonymous authentication. And then we'll switch to content view, the server certification. This is the file. You will right click on it and switch to feature view. Edit permissions. We are giving the server certification. We are putting our first domain controller and second domain controller to have rights on issuing the certification through the website. Okay, so you are here and right click and edit permissions, server certification and edit permissions. Edit permission. And in the security we will add both computers, our first domain controller, which is our certification authority server, and our second domain controller, which is our Active Directory Right Management Service server, to be able to issue certifications, to have to have right to access the certificate and issue it, of course. Okay, this is bot one. I think he will give it full control. Or read only, I don't know. I think he's giving it, yes, read only. We don't need him to get full control. We need it to have a read write on it. Read writes, I mean. Okay, it's read only, read and execute only. And we will add the second domain controller. Yes, or the service account. Okay, we give the, sorry, not the two servers. We need the first domain controller and the service account to be able to have read and execute, read write on the certification. Actually, I saw another video. Some steps are not there. Okay, but I think this video is more detailed. If anyone knows less details or less video for doing it, okay, with less steps, so fine. You need only the, okay, we put already the service account and give it a read write option. So I think now we have finished with the configuration. I think yes, we have another certificate. Also, we'll have the anonymous authentication also disabled. Sorry, enabled. So robot certification, and click on the view, switch to content view, and then service locator. We'll tell him switch to features, and then we'll get to authentication and anonymous authentication enabled. Disabled. Yes, it will be disabled. This is the difference. It is already enabled, so we will disable it. I don't know why he did already service locator disable it, but as I said, I need only the feature to be enabled and work with it. Okay. So here we'll make a folder for the policies, or because the Active Directory Right Management Service, we can make a policy, for example, to prevent printing on a certain document. So this policy will be saved here, and we have to give everyone read and write permission to it. So the clients, to get the policy, or for example, you have a Word file that's only restricted to print. So how we will do this? Through policy. So the client will read the policy from this folder, so he can execute only to print on a certain document, or read, or what rights you will do. We will see that in a moment, how to configure a policy. But this is the folder that we will contain the policy. It's like the group policy, if you know all, the group policy location. Okay, and you will give it a share, and we give it share, and you will give everyone. Also, it's not everyone, it's not recommended, but as for the lab, we can give it read and write, and done. So now we will begin configuring the Active Directory Right Management policy. For example, if you need to prevent certain users from printing a document, or for printing, for example, they will make something called prevent print. This policy will be there. So if you want to make some documents, the printing option is disabled, so we will make a policy, and then we will push it to the clients. So when the client access, a certain client accesses any document, he will not be able to print it if you have this policy attached to him, or to be implemented to him. You will see that in a moment, how this will be done. Here is the Active Directory Management Service. First of all, we need to know that the Active Directory Right Management Service needs emails, or the user, he recognizes the user with his email. So if you don't have an email, for example, you can make it the username at your domain. For example, I have my username is krauf at, I'll make it, my email will be krauf at transformers.local, because the Active Directory Right Management Service works with email. You will see that in a moment. So now we have some features to be enabled. First, we will enable users exclusion policy. So if you want to exclude some users, we will enable. Okay, this will be enabled. Enable user exclusion. If you want to exclude some users from the policy, enable application exclusion, and then we'll enable super users. This super user would be the user that will be excluded from any policy. Sorry, I think this is also the user that can issue a certification. Let's see the description now. These are the answers they request. Here we will make a template, for example, or a policy to prevent printing. So now we make the policy prevent, for example, prevent print. And add. Then we will add the user that this policy will be implemented to. First of all, I thought it was groups, but no, he needs an email. He needs an email. The user has to add an email. Okay, if I tell him everyone, then it will be implemented to them all. We'll continue our lab. So now, mainly I read that the Active Directory Right Management Service, it's something like protecting documents with special rights. For example, here we are making a policy that a specific user, as I said, the Active Directory Right Management is working with an email. So the user with a specific email will not be able to, for example, print a certain document. Okay, so this mainly the main the main function of working with Active Directory Right Management Service is to protect documents. Okay, and protecting the documents will be through identifying the users with their email. So if you don't have an email, you can put, as I said before, the username at your domain to be the email. For example, if I want kraof at transformers.local to print only a certain document, so then I will choose the user, okay, and then we will apply the policy to him. And then if you, for example, open a Word document, you will see that, and also you have to activate the Active Directory Right Management Service on this document. And for example, disable printing. For example, if you, for example, have a Word document, okay, and the Active Directory Right Management Service is applied to it, okay, you will not be able to print the document. So you will see that in a moment when we will apply this in live in a couple of seconds. So what I am doing now, that I am giving the group that I have an email, so I can be able to apply the policy. But it's not for the group. You have to put it for the user. But for example, if you have a group of users, you need them to apply with the same policy. Okay, so you can put in the properties of every user the group email. So for example, if you need them not to print, so you'll put every user with the group email, and then the policy will be applied. So we will see that in a moment. For example, I need to disable the printing for example, any Word or Excel document. We have all the rights there, but only the print will be disabled. So in this video, he's adding 2 users with 2 emails and give them different rights. So for example, I have 2 users and I have 1 policy. Okay, I can give them every different setting. We will see that live. So we have already all of the rights there. We can view and edit. This is mainly for the documents, okay? Word, Excel, or whatsoever. You can do everything with the document except printing. So if the document you have to enable this feature on the document itself. So you open a Word document and enable the Active Directory Management Service on it and give, so it can, and then after that, after enable the feature, it will connect with the server and get the policy, or the, like, it's something like the group policy. So it will be implemented on the document. You will see that live, okay? Enable users to view protected contents, okay? So here we'll export this policy to a folder, so the client, when connects to the server, will get his policy from this folder. We'll connect it to the share one, which is for the folder that I created, which is named policy. So the user will connect to this location to get the policy from. As I said, this location must be available to the administrator who distributes these templates to the client machines. So this policy will be distributed to the client machines. So any user that have other documents have a protected or have a policy containing document that is protected by Active Directory Right Management Service, and there is a policy to be applied, he will go get the policy from this location. I think now we can pass this part. Just a minute. Here, this option, members of the super users are granted owner user license. They request a use license for this AD cluster. This allows them to decrypt. Yes. For example, we are using this document is protected by ADRMS. For example, we can know later that we can encrypt documents using the Active Directory Management System, not only giving access rights or disable or, for example, give rights to documents like printing or editing, but we can also encrypt. So we will put a group here that will be able to decrypt any documents that is protected by the Active Directory Right Management Service. So I put the IT group here. But first you have, as I said before, you have to have an email. So I will give the group of IT an email and put it in the group super user group. I have to give it an email. So I will give the group an email. So I'm just changing the email to my local domain. I just change the email, prevent and edit. Now this is the name we need to user rights. Yes, we will change remove and add. Sorry, we will continue here. Sorry, you will see here our lab is finished. Okay, so we will see in the next lab the we will begin installing or working with the DAC rules, dynamic access control rules. Okay, in the next lab we also see the Active Directory Right Management Service. We will complete it in the next lab. We'll see how we can use it with documents and protect documents, and to allow certain users to do some things and some things not. But we will see it in the next lab. See you soon. Thank you.